In this video, I'm installing the LASFIT auxiliary switch bank in my 2020 Jeep Gladiator Django. I already have the factory Mopar auxiliary switch bank, but all 4 switches are being used to send power to my truck bed, reverse lights, hood light, and cube lights. I'm going to need more switches for the next phase of my build to power lockers, onboard air, and of course, more lights. So I started to search for the right option for me. I wanted a clean OEM look with an easy plug and play install. The LASFIT auxiliary switch panel bank kit looks like it met my needs. I could get the red and black switches together or separately. I only needed the red switch and decided to give it a try. The box looks cool, let's see the switch. I really like the look of the switch. It's perfect if you want that OEM look in your interior. Exactly what I was looking for. There are 4 switches that have already been labeled and a jack for an RJ12 cable. If you're interested in this switch bank kit after watching this video, I'd appreciate it if you use the affiliate link in the description. It helps support the channel. What else is in the box? The fuse box relay feels solid and durable. It's also waterproof. The wires are also heavy duty. This is the fuse box bracket. This is the cigarette lighter harness. This is the switch harness. This is the CAN bus harness. Some hardware and a grommet. An RJ12 cable to potentially connect a CB radio. And last but not least, some zip ties. The website also has good install instructions, but you don't need those because you're watching my video. Let's get this install started. The tools you'll need are a 12mm socket, 10mm socket, 7mm socket, an extension, ratchet wrench, and also a 5.5mm socket, pliers, plastic trim remover, Phillips head screwdriver. Start by disconnecting the negative battery terminal. This is the first time I've owned a vehicle that had an auxiliary battery. If you only disconnect the main connection, there's still power running to the vehicle. When I first started working on my Gladiator, I wasn't sure what was going on, so I did some research. If you want to completely disconnect the power, you have to pull this cable off. First, attach the fuse relay to the mounting plate. Use the provided hardware to do so. The fuse relay is mounted between the body of the Jeep and the battery. Remove the 2 10mm bolts. Don't look at that mess of wires, I'm gonna get to cleaning it up eventually. Depending on which kit you buy, the second fuse relay goes here. Secure the fuse box to the Jeep using the 10mm bolts. These are the power and ground for the fuse relay. Attach the ground to this bolt on the body of the Jeep. Attach the red power wires to the positive battery terminal. Run the wire harness behind the fuse box to the other side of the engine compartment. Use some of the provided zip ties to keep the harness up and out of the way. You'll need to remove these 2 nuts to run the wires behind the reservoir. If you have an automatic, you can run the wires through this access point. I already have some wires going through it. Here's the view from the inside of the Jeep on the driver's side. A rubber grommet is provided. Run the wire into the cabin. So that's it for the work in the engine compartment for now. We set up the fuse box and ran the wiring. Now we're going to be working inside the Jeep to get the auxiliary switch bank installed. Use the plastic trim remover to remove the upper portion of the dash console controls. If this video is helpful, like and subscribe so you don't miss my next install. That was crazy trying to get that trim off. I've never had such a hard time. I was wrestling with that thing, that plastic was bending. It was just ridiculous. That clip just did not want to move, but I got it off. Now let's move on to the next phase. Disconnect the two wiring harnesses. Remove the screw using the 7mm socket or a screwdriver. Pull the lower portion straight towards you to unclip it. Unplug all the connections. Now we can start installing the switch bank. Use the 5.5mm socket to remove the 7 screws. Remove the storage box and the Mopar auxiliary switch bank. Install the red switch followed by the black. It looks really good in my opinion. Now we can get this back into the Jeep. I removed the panel in the glove box to make it easier to run the wiring. Plug the provided cigarette lighter harness into the cigarette lighter connection. Plug the factory cigarette lighter harness into the provided cigarette lighter harness. This is the switch harness, connected to the wires labeled power on the provided cigarette harness. If you purchase the red switch, you'll have a CAN bus harness. Connect it to the switch harness, run it behind the glove box, and connect it to any of the available slots. I had no idea what a CAN bus system was, but apparently it acts as a central networking system that allows a vehicle's various ECUs to communicate with each other. Back to the switch harness, this connects to the red switch bank. This connects to the wiring from the fuse relay that we passed through the firewall. Use one of the zip ties to secure it up and out of the way. Give everything one last look over to make sure it's connected. I don't have a Rubicon, so I have a few less connections to worry about. Reconnect the top portion. To check out the rest of my build, click the end screen now.